Manchester United have been one of the most informed sides after the end of the FIFA World Cup, and that is something that has, of course, reflected in their recent results and, more importantly, the way they've played. But no one expected them to actually comprehensively beat neighbours and, of course, defending Premier League champions Manchester City in the manner that they did. Yet, now that they've actually done that, as things stand, United are, whether they want to believe it or not, realistically very much in a title race for the first time in God only knows how many seasons at this point. In fact, the last time they came relatively close to winning it would have been the 17-18 season when, of course, Jose Mourinho was in charge. Now, they have since then undergone a period of ups and downs, and they have had many fans yearning for the glory days of Sir Alex Ferguson when the club were the dominant force in England. But with the way recent results have been going and the fact that the club are clearly trending in the positive direction, it is pertinent to ask, are Manchester United finally showing signs of being back at last under the management of Erik Ten Hag? Now, before we go on to answer that question, let's quickly take a look at every Manchester United manager that has been a part of the club since Sir Alex Ferguson hung up his boots and see how exactly it is that they've fared both in short as well as in some detail. Now, if you're looking at the man who was appointed the successor of Ferguson, well, David Moyes was sacked within his first season, won absolutely no trophies. Louis van Gaal was brought in the season thereafter. He lasted 2 seasons and won 1 trophy. Jose Mourinho won 2 trophies, both of them in his first season, but after that it was a period of consistent decline, which of course led to the appointment of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And despite the fact that Solskjaer did oversee some progress, the simple fact was under him the club won absolutely no trophies. Now, in detail, this is just a basic overview on how things went. Now, if you're looking at it in some detail, for David Moyes, well, he was unfortunately the first person to realize that this sort of a job would have been probably one of the hardest jobs in recent memory, because again, Sir Alex Ferguson had retired after 26 years, and whoever had to replace him was going to have a very unenviable job in his hands. That's exactly what happened with him, and he couldn't handle the pressure, and he wasn't, of course, helped by the board either. But the simple fact of the matter is that when he was sacked, few if anyone really shed a tear when that happened. Louis van Gaal, he was backed far better by the board than David Moyes ever was. But the simple fact of the matter was that his record in the transfer market, more often than not, was more miss than hit. The football on display was often very dull, which led to Manchester United fans chanting attack, attack whenever Louis van Gaal's Man United had the ball in possession. And despite the fact that they won 1 trophy, the FA Cup, in his second and final season, most people realized that this would be time for a change. And then in came Jose Mourinho in his first season, wins 2 trophies. He won the League Cup, he won the Europa League thereafter, and then the season after that, he ended up finishing second. But again, there was a clear downward trend, and of course, Mourinho being Mourinho, a lot of tension behind the scenes, and that is when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was brought in first on a caretaker basis and then full-time. Now, that's not to say the Solskjaer era was without its highs. Don't forget, they finished second in the 2020/21 season as well. But again, by the time he was sacked, few if any thought it was the wrong move to make. Ralph Ragnick came in on an interim basis, but we're not really counting his reign because again, it was so very interim. And now, under Erik Ten Hag, it does look like Manchester United are on an upward trend at last. But why exactly is that the case? Well, first off, right now, if you're looking at where it is, the club are currently sitting 3rd in the Premier League table, and they're only 1 point behind neighbours as well as current defending Premier League champions Manchester City. Now, that is a position that no one thought they would find themselves in after the way results were going earlier this season. And don't forget, earlier this season as well, City had thumped Manchester United 6-3. So this time around, even an improved performance was going to be seen as a positive. That happened, but even beyond that, they got the 3 points as well. And perhaps more importantly, right now, Manchester United are the only club who can actually win all 3 of the major English tournaments. That is, of course, the Premier League, the League Cup, and the FA Cup. Realistically, Manchester United are alive in all 3 tournaments, and that is a situation where I think even their most diehard fans wouldn't have expected to find themselves in come the start of this season. Now, the real question, of course, is how exactly is it that Ten Hag has managed to do this? Well, First off, the first thing that he's done, which has been very important and something that really has been missing for quite a while, is that he's instilled a clear style of play into the team. No longer are they looking to just, adapt their tactics based on the opposition and try and instill a style of play that is quite frankly outdated. They're looking to be more controlling, they're looking to dominate, they're looking to press higher, they're looking to make chances in attack. And perhaps the best part about everything is that the results generally have trended upwards for all of these matches. Now, of course, it's one thing to bring about a style of play, but that can, of course, sometimes lead to results deteriorating. That, however, hasn't quite happened this time around. In fact, they have actually seen positive results come their way. As I said, they're currently third in the Premier League. They actually are alive in both the domestic cups. And perhaps most importantly, the spirit of the players, as things stand, looks very, very positive. In fact, after the match, you had Bruno Fernandes come out and say that, we used to play as individuals, now we're playing as a team. And this has generally, can be seen as hollow words at best, especially coming from a team that have won. But simple fact of the matter is, if you've been watching United long enough, you realize that yes, they have actually been playing more and more cohesively than they have been able to do in recent memory. So that's the good part when you're looking at, of course, Manchester United's recent times, especially when they have been under the management of Erik ten Hag. So now we finally come back to the question at hand: are Manchester United really back? Well, they are showing every single sign of, in fact, re-emerging as a major player in the Premier League and in England. And it is worth noting that it also comes at a time when Manchester City's form hasn't been in a bit of a decline. Liverpool this season have been a clear step below the rest, and even Chelsea have been suffering through major problems of their own that have come about in the light of their ownership change. So at this point, really, you are seeing a little bit of a changing of the guard in the Premier League. Arsenal are on top, and United at this point could very well be the second best side in England based on form, and could very well be ending the season there as well. If that happens, oh my God, it'll be massive for Manchester United, and more importantly, their fans who have for years been accustomed to being a team that just occasionally flirts with a little bit of glory, but nothing beyond that. However, that's just how I feel about this matter. What do you guys think? Well, you can let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and tap that bell icon so you know when we're going live or uploading a new video for you guys. Then you can also go ahead and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and last but not least, download the AajTak app. Thank you all once again for joining us. As always, I've been Shane Reyes. I hope to see you with us through the day, but for now, goodbye.